Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Within Range Coaching Podcast. I'm Ranger, certified holistic success coach, and in this podcast, I'm breaking down the journey that entrepreneurs face as they start their organization, find solutions to the roadblocks in their way, and create an impact that lasts. So if you're an entrepreneur, nonprofit leader, or purpose-driven community member that wants to learn how to grow your impact and develop yourself as the person behind the mission, then this podcast is for you. I know you're just as eager to get started as I am, so let's jump right in. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Within Range Coaching Podcast. Now, guys, I've been posting about a certain new addition to the Within Range Coaching team on social media, and that is Julie and I's brand new kitten, Walker. Walker Oak-Keelak joined our team just about a week and a half ago or so. I believe it was May 10th. I'd just gotten into Oklahoma, dropped some stuff off at my host family's house for the night, and I don't know, I was like, hey, I'm going to do a few more miles tonight just to really crank it out. They're like, oh, are you sure you don't want to just rest up? And I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm just going to try to get as many miles as I can. And no more than 2 or 3 miles in, I was walking on the side of the highway, editing a YouTube video, singing a song out loud, when I heard a little meow coming from the left. I looked over, heard it again, looked down, and that's when I first saw the little black kitten that is now what I've been calling the development ambassador for Within Range Coaching, or little fundraising guru. And I took him back to my host family's house. One of their neighbors said that she could watch him for a few days while Julie and I decided whether or not we wanted to care for him. I said, I'm 95% sure we're keeping the kitten, but you go and hold on to him for now. We'll go from there. Called my fiance. We chitter-chatted for a few minutes, and we were both pretty much solidly in agreement that we were committed to getting the kitten. We just need to figure it out. We have it almost figured out. At the time of recording, the plan is that she'll fly out to Oklahoma, pick the kitten up from my grandma, and fly back. But really, today's episode, of course, we're joined by a kitten and cat rescue. And the reason for that is, as I was walking the next few days and thinking about the cat and the kitten, I was thinking about my experience at the reptile rescue and how I feel like most of the problems, and I'm sure our guest today will let me know how correct I am on this, most of our problems with the feral cat, dog issue that we have in the country really does stem from spaying and neutering your pets. What was it? Bob Barker on the Wheel of Fortune at the end of every episode would mention, help control the pet population, get your pet spayed and neutered. And I feel like it's such a simple, I can hear Mary Kate laughing. And, I feel like it's such a simple solution that really isn't, not that it's free, not that it's cheap, but it's an inexpensive way to really prevent these issues from happening. And I'm pretty sure that Walker, there's a good chance if he wasn't a feral cat, then he was dumped and abandoned on the side of the road. And whether that was his case specifically or not, I do know that does happen pretty regularly. And I'm sure our guests will be able to shed some light on that in the region that she's from. But anyway, that's the background for this episode and why I was so excited to finally get someone on the show that can speak to it and tell me what's actually going on rather than the things I make up when I'm walking in 90-degree heat at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. But anyway, without further ado, I'd like to welcome today's guest, Miss Mary Kate, who is the Vice President of the Floyd Felines Rescue in Georgia. Mary Kate, how are you doing today?
I am doing well, and I'm sitting here having a cup of coffee with one of my house full of cats myself, because when you work in rescue, you can't go home without cats. So here I am. This is how I spend my afternoon. But I'm glad to be here. We really appreciate you contacting us, and I'm really happy to be here. So thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no problem at all. And I don't know, I've talked about this a few times before, but just how fun and great social media is. I just made a post ranting about how easy it is to get your pet spayed and neutered to prevent these issues. And one of the gals that's been following me since the very beginning tagged the president for, is that
yes, that's Christy. Yeah, Christy
so
Louie
Christy
was our president.
Tagged Christy and was like, hey, he's looking for a cat rescue to interview. And Christy was like, who the heck is this guy? What? And, then the woman who tagged her explained, and I reached out to her and we chatted. And yeah, I mean, just looking at your guys' socials and the work you guys are doing, I'm so glad that I made that post and was able to find you guys, because you're legit. You're not just some run out of the house glorified animal hoarder that calls himself a rescue. Like, even on
No,
just a minute ago, we're talking about you have a facility and a building, but
we do.
let's put a pin in that for a second. I'm rambling now. But Mary Kate, can you just kind of share what your intention is for today's episode and give us a little bit of background about you?
Sure. And I've already told you once that I tend to ramble too. So if you want to interrupt me and shift gears, you're more than welcome to do that.
Perfect.
Floyd Felines started on paper, I guess, if you would say. We incorporated in 2015. We were kind of a loosely connected group of people who had learned that our animal control here in Floyd County, we're in Northwest Georgia. We're in a little town called Rome, and we're at the foot of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and our county is Floyd County. Floyd County, 10 years ago, had the third highest intake of cats in the state of Georgia. And 75% of those cats were euthanized weekly. And, they say that if you have the right people in the right place at the right time, you can affect change, and you can. And I think that awareness, if I had to choose what I wanted people to hear tonight from you and I talking, is how powerful awareness can be, and what awareness of a situation or an event, or, in our case, just the whole animal welfare landscape here, being aware of what was happening was the catalyst for really big things to come. And we did have the right people in the right place at the right time. We had people who wanted our community to be better than that. 75% of cats coming into a shelter and being euthanized every week that's terrible. I don't care who you are, how you feel about animals, it's terrible. And I think a community can do better. And we had enough people in our group who felt that the community could do better. But if your community is going to be better, we had to be better. If you want it to be better, you have to be better. So we sort of loosely formed a group, and Christy had a connection with another licensed rescue out of another community about an hour away. And she said, we want to get some of these cats out of the shelter. What do we do? And they sort of said, use our license. You can be a foster under our license. You can pull these cats, get some cats out. And we started doing that. And we had no facility. We had our own houses, and we had sheds, and we had garages, and we got crates, and we got, we just got the basics. And that's how we started. And we started just simply trying to save lives, because there were so many, just thousands of adoptable, healthy animals being euthanized in a shelter. And so that's how we started. But I think, you mentioned seeing Walker on the side of the road, your little kitten. And I don't even know how many cats have come to us that way. They're everywhere. And we're in the rural South. We're in Georgia. You do have to fight. I think there's a certain mentality still in rural areas. You have a lot of farmland. We still have people who think that cats are their yard pets. They're just you just put them in the backyard. They're mousers. They really are not pets. And until recently, we had zero low-cost spay-neuter options in our community. But this area, it's not a wealthy area. With the economy being the way it is, when people are having to choose between buying groceries and taking their cat to the vet, the cat's not going to go to the vet when it costs $250 to get that cat fixed, and they're trying to feed their children. So you have a lot of different things going on there. Spay neuter is simple. If we don't spay and neuter out in the community, it's never going to change at that shelter level. The shelters are always going to continue to have thousands of animals coming in. So what we did, and let me mention this too, I think in rescue, we see things in rescue that other people find invisible. The general public has no idea that a female cat can have 3 litters in 1 year. They have no idea that female cat in 5 years' time can produce 20,000 descendants. They don't know that. We know that. Yeah, look up. There's something called I think it's called the cat pyramid. It kind of gives you a breakdown of, you take a male cat and a female cat, and they breed, and then their offspring, and if all those cats live, and you get down to like, I don't know, in 6 years' time, and you've got like 400,000 cats. I mean, they're not all going to survive, but the numbers are outrageous. They are real, and shelters can't keep up with that. And, shelters, the most county municipal shelters are not rescue oriented. They're just not. They do a job that they're paid to do. They are paid to take in the animals, find something to do with those animals. And if they don't have the support of a rescue, in our experience, most county shelters are as good as the rescues that are supporting them. And there's a lot more that goes along with that.
Yeah. And if I can jump in there with you for just a second, with the euthanization of, I guess, so many animals and adoptable pets, it sounds like there's nothing wrong with the cats. It sounds like there's just so many of them that there's no other
Yes.
option. Like, what can you explain a little bit more about what it means to be like a kill shelter versus a no kill? Like, why do they have to put so many down? Like, what is the reasoning, regardless of feelings, I guess?
There are not enough homes for all of the animals that come in. If you think about, for instance, here in Floyd County, we take in all of the animals that come in to our shelter. Let's say we've taken in 200. Our community is producing those animals. There are not enough people in this county who are going to come back and adopt those animals. There's just not enough homes. What we do and what our shelter has done is we provide rescue transports. Are you familiar with that term?
Rescue transports, no.
Rescue transport means we have, I'll use us as an example. We have a rescue partner in Delaware, and she in turn has a connection with a rescue in Maryland. So we have an option now. We send rescue transports. The cats have to be healthy. They have to have a health certificate. They have to be vaccinated. If they're old enough to be spayed, they have to be spayed and have a rabies shot. We send those cats on. We have a van. Those cats go about once a month to our rescue contact, our rescue partner in the Northeast, where this rescue has 30 PetSmart stores, and they specifically exist to pull animals from the high kill shelters in the South. What constitutes a no kill shelter is that if your live outcome meaning adoptions or exiting through a rescue transport, if that percentage is, I'm going to say it backwards if I'm not careful. If 95% of what you take in, the animals you take in, if they leave alive, that's called a live outcome percentage. If you euthanize less than 5% of that total, then you're a no-kill shelter. Our shelter, did that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So if 95% of the animals leave alive, they're considered a no-kill shelter.
It's a no-kill shelter. If they are euthanizing less than 5%, 5% or less of the total animals that have gone through intake into their shelter, then they are a no-kill shelter. And that 5% is usually animals who come in that are too sick to be helped, or they've been hit by a car, or, where we live, it might be a raccoon that somebody found, half dead on the road and brought in.
I was going to ask for clarification. Like, what about those? And that 5% accounts for the animals that come in that are injured, that are on the brink of death anyway, or have a disease. I know. What is it? Yellow fungus is something that reptiles can get. That's kind of considered a euthanizing worthy disease. So I figured that would come into play with some other mammals like cats and dogs.
It does. But now our shelter, the same shelter that had the third highest intake of cats in the state 10 years ago and was euthanizing 75% of those. Mm-hmm. Our shelter now, we have an extra penny tax in this county. It's called a special purpose local option sales tax. And we voted one year to use that money to build a new shelter, a new animal control shelter. It has a rescue side, which is an adoption side, and it still has the animal control side. And we had a fantastic director. He has since moved on to other things, but he created a rescue transport or rescue coordinator position. They have hired a full-time veterinarian. We have a full-time vet tech on staff. This is all new. This is all new to the rural county shelters here in the South. This is becoming a trend, that the shelters are seeing the benefit of having a vet on staff. rescue, transport, because most taxpayers, when they find out that their local shelter is euthanizing that many healthy animals, they all have a fit. It makes people angry. Why are you putting all these animals to sleep? But again, remember I told you, the people who we see things in rescue in this world that to most people it's invisible. They don't know these, they don't see it, they don't understand the numbers. They blame animal control for having that many animals in the first place. It's not their fault. It all goes back, as you said, to spay neuter. Everything here that we're talking about all goes back to spay neuter. Spay neuter, spay neuter, spay neuter. And in an area such as ours, we did not have any low-cost spay neuter options here. We do now. Floyd Felines, our group, has, we started a couple of years ago, we started a low-cost spay neuter clinic that we have a vet who is just a little ways down the road. It's a little travel to get to him, but he's a rescue vet. He has great prices for low-cost spay neuter. He does most of our vetting, and he runs this clinic for us. We pick up the cats from the owners, meet us with their cats in a parking lot with our van and our driver. They've signed up. They've paid a small amount for their animal to be fixed, for their cat to be spayed or neutered, and they're transported to the vet that day to be spayed and neutered. They're spayed and neutered. They come back on the same van that afternoon and they go back home. What we found out when we started this program was that people do want to get their pets fixed. We have spent years saying some bad things about people in the community who, why don't these people spay and neuter their pets? Why? They do want to spay and neuter their pets. This program, these schedules, these clinics are full every single time we open them. They are full. They fill up quickly. It all goes back to money, just like everything else in the world. It all comes down to money. They can't afford big vet prices, but they can afford a low cost price, and they sign up all day long.
Hey listeners, I just want to give a quick shout out to today's episode sponsor, Dr. Deaton and his incredible clinic, Deaton Veterinary Services in Cedar Bluff, Alabama. Dr. Deaton partners with local nonprofit rescue organizations and is committed to serving the citizens of Northeast Alabama and Northwest Georgia with empathy, honesty, and integrity. He also aims to serve pet owners anywhere in the world from his YouTube channel, Dr. D Rescue Vet. From how to trim your dog's nails to informative videos about disease that can affect your pet, Dr. D is the rescue vet that aims to serve. Visit his YouTube channel to learn some incredible and valuable insights into pet care to keep your furry family members safe and healthy for years to come. His YouTube channel is linked down in the show notes, so be sure to check him out and subscribe. Let's all support a community hero dedicated to making a difference. Now, let's get back to the show. Earlier we mentioned that there's like the stigma of cats are kind of those yard pets, that they're almost like a tool, or I don't know, more of like like the rat hunter, like that's,
yeah,
they're an animal that just happens to be useful almost.
Well, and they're part of a true feral cat is really part of the food chain. And we have thousands of them here, and feral cats, they colonize, but you can't catch them. People can't, even if someone wants to get their feral cat fixed, you can't just walk out in the backyard and pick him up, because 9 times out of 10, he's not friendly.
Yeah.
We have a TNR program. TNR stands for Trap, Neuter, Release. And we use live traps. We have a waiting list for this program. In a colony, we've done colonies. We've done 3 cats. We've done up to 30 in one area. It just depends on how many they have. And we do it once a week. We are aggressively practicing spay neuter here, and we trap the cats. We take them to the vet. We have 3 different options with vets for spay neuter in our TNR program. We have a great driver. We have a great trapper, and she does it all week long. She traps in all these different places, and people have to sign up. They have to sign up. It's some sort of a waiting list. We're still working on a list that we've had since about January, because the need is huge here. But on the other side of that, you and I were talking before you started recording about our barn cat program. Those feral cats, um, a lot of times they come into the shelter, people set traps. There are people who don't like cats. And, I'm not one of those people, and you're not one of those people. But there are people who don't like cats, and cats can be a nuisance, and they get on cars and they dig up people's gardens. And so trapped cats wind up at animal control all the time. Animal control will spay or neuter those cats, let us know what they have, and we pull those cats from shelters and find barn homes for them, because people do want mousers. They do want cats in their barns, taking care of the mice. And the cats in that case, feral cats who really don't want to be, they don't want to be held, they don't want to be petted on the head, they want to be fed and left alone, and they make great mousers. But they have a right to live too. And our little motto has always been that every life matters.
I love that. Yeah, and I think that's so. I guess to kind of also clarify that definition of a feral cat, because when I think of a feral animal, I think of wild, not handleable. Is that pretty in line with what the definition would be?
That absolutely is. That's correct.
I don't know, because I was thinking like when I think, I'm not sure if other people might think this too, but when they think of feral, they think of like a wild animal, like a wild variant of a cat or dog. But I don't think that necessarily exists anymore, right? Just in terms of like the selective breeding and how long they've been in the pet trade. Like, is that fair to say, or am I thinking too much?
No, I think no. There is a true feral cat. A true feral cat is truly a kind of a nasty animal. He does not want human contact. He's been on his own for a long time. He may be eating in someone's backyard because a little old lady like me wants to put food down and feed everybody in the neighborhood. But he's never been socialized. He's not a pet. And he is going to be really ugly and probably draw blood if you try to touch him. That is a true feral cat. Feral, if you look up the definition of feral, it basically says wild or living like wild. Now, there are other feral cat, we call them feral cat colonies, where say there's again, I love to blame the little old ladies and the little old men. Little old man feeds a cat, and of course she's either female or he attracts a female. There's going to be babies at some point if that cat shows up, because they're 9 times out of 10 they're outside, they're not fixed. So, in another year he's got 30 cats in the backyard. They're not completely wild because they associate him with food, but they're also not adoptable pets. So we can't bring them into an adoption program and find them a nice indoor home. And there's millions of those cats in the country that fall in that category because they simply are living a life outside, and they may associate us with food, but they don't associate us any other way with comfort or friendship or companionship. They just live outside. And they make great barn cats because they do appreciate humans for food, but that's it.
Gotcha. And I think I might have missed a sentence or two of what you just said, because I just saw something that might clarify a question I was about to ask you. So
okay.
To the listeners, I'm so sorry if I just ask her the same question she just answered. But the differentiation between a stray cat and a feral cat, I think that's more so where I might be confused on. Like, is there a difference there for you, or?
For me, there is. To me, a true feral cat is a wild animal.
Yes.
Whether he's associated me with food or not, he's a wild animal. A stray cat is a cat who, in our instance here, and it happens every day, someone moves and they leave their cat behind. Friendly cat. Now the cat doesn't have a home. He wanders from place to place looking for someone to feed him. That's a stray cat. But he's not necessarily feral. He may be perfectly friendly. He may have lived outside his entire life, but he had an owner who petted him on the head, or kids who played with him, and he's friendly and he's looking for his next home. And that's a stray cat. But a feral cat is really a wild animal that somehow got in. He smelled the stinky food in your live trap and he got caught.
Gotcha.
And,
okay, so it sounds like that might be the case more so of a stray cat as a cat that like maybe ran away or got separated or dumped or
dumped. Mm-hmm.
And then the feral cat is probably, it sounds like more of like a generational, like born in the wild, lives in the wild.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. And it sounds like even in that case, like even with the feral cat, it sounds like strays potentially, like, I don't know, again, I might be overanalyzing it. Strays breed in the wild, have wild babies, they get used to the wild, then they kind of become feral in that way, which adds
Yes.
to the issue. Okay, I'm understanding
Yes.
the
Yes.
household family member to feral pipeline, I guess. Because that's something that I kind of found interesting too, is because I mean, I definitely grew up in a more rural area, but people still from, I guess maybe just my family or the people around me or the people that I would associate with, do consider cats or dogs to be a part of the family. Like, you
Yeah.
get them fixed, you get them their vaccines, you take them to the vet if there's an issue, et cetera, et cetera. And
Right.
then there was actually a rescue I met, Final Victory Rescue in South Carolina, and they're the first ones that told me, the south, this like southeast portion of
Hmm.
the state or the country does have a very different perspective of cats and dogs and like their
Yeah.
usefulness or their what's the word I want to use? Like their value, essentially, right?
Right.
And what I think is interesting is that they mirrored the same thing that you just said earlier about how you kind of ship animals to the Northeast, how there's like a
Yes.
different supply and demand. Like there's very economics sounding, I know, but there's a huge supply of these animals down here further south, but up north, there's a higher demand for these loving household pet family members. Can you
Correct.
kind of talk about that difference of,
Sure.
is it purely socioeconomic, or is that just like
Um,
one of the main
no, it
things?
really is. It really is about supply. Up north
Yeah.
in the northern states, they have seasons. They have a winter. And they have cold weather for a certain number of months every year. Cats breed in the warmth. They breed in the heat. So up north, they have one kitten season, and it lasts from April till maybe late summer, maybe early fall. The cats, when weather starts to get cooler, the cats stop breeding. Our cats breed year round. We have cats. We have kittens in December. We sometimes have kittens in January. And here, what happens a lot too is in December, or maybe let's say January, we've had a little snap of cold, and then you'll have 3 weeks of this beautiful 60-degree weather and the sun shines and all the cats. And we even say to each other, oh gosh, the cats are all out having a party right now. They're all getting pregnant. It's just you have to have some sort of levity just to do this, but
Yeah, yeah,
um,
of course, of course.
you you really do.
Yeah.
Crazy is another word, but the North does have and one thing I think too about the North is that for instance, the area that we send our cats to in Maryland, the area that they're in is close to Washington D.C. And I think a lot of those larger cities. You're talking about a huge metropolitan area with way more people who are all looking for pets. The rescue that we send our cats to have 30 PetSmart stores that they send animals to. So they're bringing these animals in, and they have targeted the high kill shelters, or some of us aren't even high kill anymore, but we still have so many animals. If it weren't for these rescues up north pulling these cats, we'd be right back where we started from. This is a regular occurrence with us. We send these cats at least once a month, and on our van, we can fit about 20 to 25 carriers in that van, and those carriers hold anywhere from one to maybe one adult cat to four kittens. So we can send up to 60 or 70 cats in one trip, and it makes a huge difference for us. Huge. So there is and I think too in the north they have different registration laws for pets. We have just passed a spay neuter ordinance here in our county that was passed in September and they just started implementing it in April. There's not a spay neuter police van that's going to drive around making sure everybody's pets are fixed, but it allows the animal control officers to target. A lot of those homes, sometimes homes get targeted for different things. There may be a call might be made for children in the house. Somebody go check on these children in the house. And so, Department of Family and Children Services may go check. And then they see that there's a dog tied up outside, which there's also an ordinance against tethering here. So, that leads them to be able to say, we're going to call animal control and help these folks get the animal fixed. And find out why he's tied up and because he's not supposed to be. It's another way to sort of help where we can. Sometimes we feel like these things are like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg, but you have to do something. And we've come a really long way here. We're proud of how far we've come. We still have ways to go, but we're proud of what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like that's a pretty long, I don't know, like the trajectory of starting off as just a foster attached to another
Yes.
shelter, using their license in order to take some of these animals, all the way to having, I don't know, like a kitty van where you just kind of like ship them up.
I'll be honest with you, it has been an adventure, and we have been blessed beyond measure in this rescue. Christy has done so much to make sure that she's just a go-getter. We got our first little space. It was a little tiny building. We had no money. Nobody knew who we were. We had no money, but we had a couple of ladies who, from someone's church who knew who we were and knew what we were trying to do and loved cats and started helping fund a few things. And we applied for and got our Department of Agriculture license. We got our 501c3 nonprofit status. And we did those things fairly quickly. The Department of Agriculture license allows us to house up to 100 animals at any time. We do wind up with more than that during kitten season. Most shelters do, but that's because so many of the adult cats come with kittens. And this is kitten season, and we are drowning in cats. But I don't know how we have been so blessed other than we've asked for it and we've prayed for it, and we've prayed over every little facility that we've been in, and we have a lot of good people on our side. We had there's a county commissioner here in our county who is very proactive animal welfare, and she had a lot of pull in helping our new shelter get built. She also she's co-founder of a group in Rome that is a fundraising group for animal welfare, and they raise money and then sort of filter it out to the rescue groups here. There's a group doing dogs, and there's a local humane society that they don't do a lot with animals, but they do some. They do a lot of educational stuff. So we've got a good team here of people that are all looking out for the animals, and it takes all of us. But Floyd Felines, I have to say, with these 40 something volunteers that we have, we're all volunteers. No one at Floyd Felines is paid. So when you're doing something that you feel called to do, I think you do it better. I don't think we would be the same group if we were being paid. I think the payoff that we get from helping these animals is there's no money. There is not an amount of money that can give you the same feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and I feel like that's just a testament to what you're committed to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, there's other nonprofits where it might work better for someone, like the founder or the CEO or whoever. Like, there are instances where people get paid, and
sure,
yeah, this isn't saying that's bad. That isn't saying that's negative. It's just a different structure. But it sounds like it works for you guys. It works for the cats. It's keeping them at the forefront, their best interests in heart. Any other thing you can really say about it, right? And just, I guess with that being said, like with your guys' success, like, do you know off the top of your head, roughly speaking, like how many cats you've been able to place, whether in your feral cat, barn cat program or into homes? Do you happen to know that, or am I kind of calling you out on that?
No, I can always come up with numbers. I know that, well, the barn cat thing is really near and dear to my heart. We had another group here years ago called the Sterile Feral, and a friend of mine and I started that, and it was a full on TNR program, trap, neuter, release for feral cats, and that has since disbanded, and then we started Floyd Felines, but I have a soft spot in my heart for the ferals. But the barn cat program, since 2021, we have placed roughly 350 barn cats in homes, and that includes what we call garden homes that are friendly outside cats that don't want to be in the house. they've come from an outside environment, and people like cats, but someone might be allergic or they don't want them in the house, but they want a nice little cat in the yard. And we do that. Of course, everybody has to be spayed and neutered before they go, but in general, in our between the adoptable cats that we adopt out locally or send on rescue transport, we affect the lives of about 1,200 cats per year. So I'd have to look at actual adoption numbers in order to, because some days some months that's going to be higher. We talked about rescue transports. Those rescue transports count as not really adoptions, but those are cats that are going to be adopted. Those are cats that there's a live outcome for them. They're going to another adoption program. Sometimes that rescue transport carries 60 or 70 cats, and that's per month. So we do a lot with a little, really.
Yeah, and it sounds like it. So that's amazing. 1,200 plus something cats. I mean, even just saving, breaking it down, just helping one more cat day after day. Like that's multiple a day. Geez, I'm like doing the math in my head.
But you said what you just said, one more cat. That's how we operate. We always try to say yes.
Yes.
When we have no money, we're tired, and I cannot tell you there's a group of women anywhere in this country that's more tired than we are.
I'm sure.
Women and men. They'll call me out on that if I don't include the men. We have some great male volunteers too, but we're tired, but we love what we do. I wish you would check out our Facebook page sometime. We have great Facebook writers. The ladies, the girls I call them girls, but they're younger than me, so I can do that. The way they present our stories is beautiful. They are great writers. We have great photographers, and they really will tug at your heartstrings. I personally don't have a Facebook page, but where I work, I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
That I have to have a job to pay the bills so I can do all this cat wrangling that I do. But I check the Facebook page at work sometimes, and their stories make me cry. And I already know the story. It's just the way they present our cats and our programs and our commitment to these animals is just beautiful. But I hope you'll look at it sometime.
Yeah, no, I follow you guys. I've been checking things out. You guys shared my post about this episode, so thanks for that.
I saw the little Walker. Yes, I saw that today, and he is absolutely adorable. And I think Walker is just the perfect name for him.
He's precious. I took him outside to use the potty one day, and I was like, "Oh, your little blue eyes, your little black cups on your chest, the black match the shoes perfectly." I'm like trying to get a shoe sponsorship, so I'm like, hopefully they see this and are like, "We'll do it for the cat."
Does he have his own page yet? Does he have his own Facebook page?
No, he doesn't have a page, but he's being posted on my coaching page.
Okay, good.
I plan to use him because my coaching business, I work with like entrepreneurs, nonprofit leaders. So what I'm going to do moving forward with him is every time we talk about the nonprofits that we're working with or the asking for donations, especially for the walk, kind of have him there. And I don't know. I feel like people might be more willing to interact with the donation post if they keep getting out of it.
He's your ambassador.
Exactly. Development ambassador. Exactly. Yes. You get it. But that's what I was gonna say is with your guys' Facebook page, you have 16 something thousand followers on your page. 21,000. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
21,000 followers. Even just the post you guys shared for me, 15 reactions, 40, 177, 92. I'm a numbers guy, so that's what excites me. But like you were saying with these stories and these graphics, like it looks like they're posting potentially multiple times a day.
They do.
Or at least, 10, 12 times a week. And yeah, I think that's something, I'm not sure how involved you are with that, but in terms of those that are listening, don't pass up the power of social media, because it looks like, every follower doesn't necessarily mean $1 in the pocket of the organization or anything, but that reach, that attention, that helps. That gets the word out. And like you were saying earlier, just the power of what was it? How
Awareness.
powerful awareness can be.
Yes, yes, it is. It's such a catalyst for bigger things. And we, as much as we need money, and we always need money, we love money. We would love to have more money.
Yep.
We can do more if we have more money, but money doesn't make everything. What makes, we love the comments on the end of, like I told you, I don't have a Facebook page, but I read it from work. We have the best followers. We have the best followers. I can fall down a rabbit hole looking at all of the comments that people have made. And this has been really interesting to me to watch because I'm not on social media myself, is when we post something, let's say we're posting about bottle feeders. Because this is the time of year we're full. We don't have any more bottle feeders. They've all got babies right now. And we make a plea, and it's a serious plea. Y'all, we have no bottle feeders. This group has come in. We can't say no. We don't say no, but there is no one to feed these babies. Y'all help us find someone. And watching the comments, people talk to each other. They're not necessarily talking to us. And one person will comment and say, come on, y'all, we really need to help this. We need to help them. Y'all start sharing this. I'm going to share it here and y'all share it there. And so it becomes this community effort. I made the statement earlier that the shelters in the Southeast their success is built on the foundation of the rescues that are helping them. I also believe that the rescues are as good as the people who are supporting them. We're doing the footwork. That's it. We're doing the footwork. We go to the shelter every day. We take care of the cats. We do this, we do that. But our supporters are what make us Floyd Felines. Does that make sense? Our supporters, our followers are the reason that we can do this. If that Facebook page disappeared tomorrow and all those followers went with it, we'd be nothing.
Yeah.
We would have to close the doors.
And I think
it's how important they are.
Yeah. And that's something that I've been saying, even with my walk, and I'm seeing so many parallels, and it's insane. But one of the things I've been saying is I'm walking by myself, but I couldn't do this without the support of the community.
Absolutely.
We all have our own things. We all have our own lives and passions and this and that. But at the end of the day, like, somebody needs to do the groundwork. Somebody needs to work in the kitten rescue. And if you can't right. spend 2, 3, 4, 12 hours a day working with the cats, maybe you can send them $20 a week. Maybe you can send them 10, maybe 5, maybe $1. But if 100 people, if we get one more, again, we were saying earlier, just that power of one more, they tag their friend, hey, can you pledge $1 a week? Hey, can you do this? Like again, the important work is getting out there and helping the cats. But with that money, you can make it go so much further, especially with the impact. We do. Yeah.
We can pinch a penny till it screams. We know we can always stretch it. And if people don't have money, they have time. They have time. They have their own social media posts. They can share what we're doing. They can tell somebody else about us. They can come and help transport cats to the vet. They can come and wash some dishes in the sink. There is always something for someone to do to support us. Always. It's not always just money, but we do love money. I can hear my board of directors now saying, we don't tell them we don't need any money. We always need money.
No, I hear you entirely. And that's I feel like that's a hard thing that a lot of people have with nonprofits is, oh, you're a nonprofit. Why are you asking for money all the time? It's like, well, because you need it. Like, at the end of the day, it's the necessary tool that you need to work with. And everybody could always use a little bit more. But I think it's so important. And like, I don't know if we've really mentioned this yet, but just like the knowledge and the expertise that you guys have sounds like it goes such a long way with the impact you can make with it. And I really think that's the key, right?
It is. And we've noticed in the last couple of years, people who they're not simply messaging us and saying, I found a cat, can you take it? They're saying, I found a cat. What do I need to do to help this cat? Can you help me help the cat? We want to find a home for this cat. How do we do this? So people are rescue can't do everything. we do more than we probably ever thought we could, and we do more than we sometimes think is physically possible. But we can't do everything. When somebody says, I've got this group of kittens, I can bottle feed them, let me know what I need to do next, that's golden for us. But it's not just golden for us. It means that our community is paying attention. And that just saying that alone almost makes me want to cry, because we started this venture believing that our community really didn't care. It's not about, we have learned it's not about our community not caring. It's about our community not being aware and not knowing. And our social media efforts have let the community know this is what's happening in your community. And if you want to be a part of this and you want your community to be better, you have to be better just like we do. And they get it. They're starting to get it. And that's huge for us.
Yeah, and that's such an interesting take too on just like the value of marketing. Marketing, breaking down the definition, is just the process of making known.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
If they don't know the importance of spay and neuter, because I'm sure if people never grew up talking about that or knowing about it, like, again, me and my fiance, like Julie and I, like, it wouldn't even be a thing that we think. They're like, oh, cat, whatever. But it's like, once they have that information, whether it's that knowledge, whether it's a gift or a curse, that extra bill now you have to pay, right?
Exactly.
But now that you have it, now they can do something about it. And it's almost like, well, I can't really fault you for not knowing the importance of spaying and neutering your pet. But now that we've had this conversation, figure it out and get out there, make something happen. Like it's just that power of getting out there and spreading the message. Like I guess really what we've been saying, the whole premise of this episode, just the power of awareness.
It is. And this thing about the spay neuter, going back to that for a minute, there are resources in almost every community to help you get your pet fixed. There are, if you don't know where those resources are, call the vet, call the local animal control, find somebody, get online. There are places probably within half an hour's drive of you. There are the trend for aggressive spay neuter in this country is outrageous right now. Everybody's doing it because we all know, if you're working in this industry, everybody knows, like I told you earlier, if we don't fix it out there, if we don't fix it where it starts, the shelters are never going to be any different. They're always going to be struggling to not euthanize hundreds of animals a month. We have to help them. It's not their fault. It's not animal control's fault that all those animals are in the shelter. It's our fault. It's our fault. We have to take responsibility for that. And that's what Floyd Felines has done. We just have this remarkable group of people who said enough is enough. The community needs help. We need to be better. So what can we do? And here we are 10 years later, and it has just been a crazy ride, and we love every minute of it.
And I think, I don't know, just to kind of wrap up the entire message is it sounds like spay and neutering, pun intended, is really nipping the issue in the bud, right?
Yes.
Like we can all sit here, we can all pledge $100 a week, $1,000 a week to our local shelter. But really, if we just spayed and neutered the pets around us and we took care of that issue, and it would make your guys' mission a heck of a lot easier.
We cannot do it all alone. We do a lot, but we can't do it all alone. When we started this, I was telling you earlier, when we didn't have any money, we didn't have a vet, we didn't know where the next bit of help was coming from. And there would be some situation with a cat, and Christy would call, and we'd talk, and we'd say, and at the end of the conversation, the deal was just get the cat. Yeah. Just get the cat. Just get the cat. And that still to this day is our mantra. Just get the cat. Just like you did. You picked up the kitten. It's the same thing. You see it. You know how many people would have walked past that kitten?
I try not to think about it.
No. But see, you did that. You got the cat. Just pick up the kitten. Get the cat. Yeah. No, but yeah, please spay and neuter. And if you see a cat, pick it up.
Yeah, please
pick it up.
And that's the hard thing. I know for a fact that everybody and all of my listeners that listen to this would be the people that would pick up the cat. And now
Yeah.
I hope that not only are were they the people coming into this podcast that would pick up the cat and figure it out, but now I hope that they're the people that can pick up the cat and know what to do with it to not only help the critter in front of them, but the overall system and ecosystem and I don't know, family tree. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's Margaret Mead said, and I love this, and I've got a refrigerator full of quotes, but one of my favorites is, you know, Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens, is what she said, can change the world, because indeed it's the only thing that ever has. And that's true.
Yep.
It's true. You're doing it just with your podcast.
Thanks, I try.
You are. And you picked up the kitten.
Picked up the kitten. Pick up the cat.
The kitten. You're my hero already. You picked up the kitten.
Yeah, no, I agree. And yeah, I don't know, man. At the end of the day, it's just about being a little bit better, being the type of person that would pick up the cat. Or what did I post the other day? Oh, about the turtle. There was a turtle crossing the road, and you know, you always feel like you're in a rush. I have a million things I need to do. I have a million things that I need to get done. I don't have time to help out this one critter. It's just a turtle. It's just a whatever. It's just, it's another life. It's another person. It's another soul. Take a second, help them out. And I can almost guarantee you that every single time it will be worth it in the end.
Every life is precious and it deserves a chance. You know the starfish story?
Yes, and if you know it, I'll let you tell it. But at my last job, I worked as a county ag inspector, and what I did was I carried around it was like a fake starfish fossil that I got at some museum. But I carried it in my pocket because of that story. Because you know, on the days where it's like everything sucks, nothing I do matters. But do you want to try to retell the story?
I'll just kind of give a brief. You know, and we get that way a lot in rescue, and in kitten season, it's tough, and it's really tough. This is a hard time of year for us. But you know, the starfish, we repeat it to each other every now and then. You know, the guy walking down the beach and he's seeing all the starfish that are beached on the shore, and he's picking them up one by one and throwing them out in the ocean. And another guy comes up and says, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Well, I'm saving these lives. I'm trying to throw them back in the ocean." He said, "Man, there's so many of them. You know, what you're doing can't possibly make a difference." And the guy picks up one starfish and holds it up and he says, "It makes a difference to this one." You know,
I get chills. I get chills.
I do too. It makes me want to cry. I know. But it does. And that's why our mantra is every life matters. Every life. Mm-hmm. It's why I don't kill spiders if they're outside.
Yeah.
You know, because it does. Every life matters. Every life is precious and deserves a chance.
Yeah.
But we don't need more of them. So please spay and neuter the life that you find.
Yes. And yeah, I think to kind of wrap this up, and then I'll ask you where we can all kind of find your shelter on socials. But growing up, I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to be a feline vet when I was little.
Oh.
And yeah. So I read all the books by James Herriot. He wrote All Creatures Great and Small.
Yes.
There's like a Amazon, there's a show for it now, but one of the quotes from him is, "The love for all creatures is the most noble attribute of man." And I don't know. I think that really just wraps it up. I'll put that in the show notes and everything, but I think that's
it does.
That's really the tie-in for everything.
That's great.
Thank you again for your time and for taking a little bit out of your day to chitter chat with me and my audience about just the importance of picking up the cat, of helping them out. If folks want to follow Floyd Felines or get in contact or support, donate, follow you on socials, where would the best places be for them to go?
Facebook. Facebook. We have the best Facebook writers and presenters. You can find anything out about us that you want on Facebook. It's a great forum. We do have a website. It's not the best. I'll be honest. I would rather you go to Facebook because you'll find out who we are, what we're doing, who the cats are, and you'll see where we shine. Mm-hmm. Perfect. And I really appreciate you having us tonight. Thank you for inviting me. We love talking about this stuff, and to have someone say, "Would you talk to me for an hour about what you do and how you started and what's important to you?" That validates what we do. I really appreciate it. So thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course. And, I wish I was a little bit closer to you guys when I was walking through, but at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I'm glad that I was able to make that connection somehow. So thank you
Well,
again.
we are too. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And once again, everyone, thank you so much for listening to today's episode and taking the time out of your day to learn about an issue that really does affect every single one of us and can be affected by every single one of us. Spaying and neutering your pets, or maybe donating to a cause that can spay or neuter the pets in your neighborhood, the cats or dogs, can really just help with the pet population issue that we have in the country. And something we didn't really touch on a lot during the podcast, I want to stress here, is it's not just that there's too many pets. It's these animals are born in the nature, in the wild. And I mean, the state I found Walker in and that I've seen other cats kind of fall into, it's not pretty. They suffer. They're not having a great time. They pass away painfully. So it's not just about the animals you can see. It's the animals that are kind of suffering in that quiet desperation. So again, this is something that every single one of us can change, that we can work towards finding a solution for. And I guess not even finding the solution's there. It's doing the work to make the solution happen, which is spaying and neutering your pets. So once again, thank you for listening today. Thank you to our sponsor. Their information can be found down in the show notes. Please check them out, support them, give them a follow. And all the information for our guest today, Floyd Felines, can be found in the show notes. So follow them on social media, check out their website, and remember that attention, awareness are really the biggest gifts you can give to a nonprofit or cause that you believe in. So show them some support, give them some attention, share their posts for awareness, and as always, have fun, stay safe, and be yourself. We'll see you next time.